What do you guys think of Picard season 3 hitting the Nielsen ratings?
Well, I'm kind of torn. I'm glad to see that they're doing good again, but I don't want to give any credit to Bad Reboot.
Well, I mean, really, it's Terry Metalis.
Yeah.
Alex Kurtzman and fucking Bad Reboot have nothing to really do with it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: this is your last good season of Star Trek.
Pretty
Period.
much.
Yeah.
I've heard season 3 is good, considering the crap that they started with.
What was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically did that. They had to address the robot, Picard being a robot. They just basically season 2 and 3 don't watch, or season 1 and 2 don't watch it. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, just consider him Ghost in the Shell. He's full prosthetic, but he's the same guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But I still don't know that I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
Picard
I'll probably watch. I've seen
if you do, just skip seasons 1 and 2.
So according to Grace
they'll just make you
Randall,
mad.
apparently the Star Trek fandom is so tight-knit they don't talk about it.
Right?
Yeah, she said it's because they're overprotective of their IP. It's like, what are you talking about? We watched them destroy their IP.
You mean the fans are passionate about the stuff they love? Weird.
Yeah, but they have it in their delusional mind that they're just secretive and don't talk about it.
Yeah, these are narcissists. All these people that are in control right now are narcissists.
Well, this is the same lady that said that the Super Mario Brothers movie is the worst movie Illumination ever made. So,
which, by the way, that worst movie they ever made, I enjoyed the hell out of it myself. So
another Chris Pratt feature too. The guy that Hollywood hates, and the only superstar they've got recently.
I didn't even think of Chris Pratt once the entire time watching it.
He sounds like Nathan Lane.
I didn't even cross my mind. I was watching a Mario flick. They were doing all this cool stuff I do in the game, and I loved it when bit of a spoiler, not much, but when they were assembling the carts and they started playing Thunderstruck, I felt like I was in the living room with my friends getting ready to play around because that's the tune we play when we're getting ready to do some Mario Kart. So I couldn't believe they actually used that particular song in the movie. I'm like, no way.
Nice.
There are cheap ways you can win me over. One of them cheap ways is by inserting an AC/DC song into a movie.
That's why they do it.
Yeah,
but I believe the first one to actually start doing stuff like that, or not the first one, but kind of pioneered it, was what is it, Zack Snyder? One of his earlier DC flicks. Kind of just insert a bunch of songs here and there.
I think
Guardians
of the Galaxy kind of started that whole trend. The first Guardians of the Galaxy kind of had its own soundtrack with classic music, all specifically classic music, and then they tried to do it with Suicide Squad, like the first one or something like that.
No, the needle drop goes back way before in the
really?
master
Supernatural.
Well, I know that, but I meant
before that.
I mean, like, kind of made it popular, not like obviously the very first one, because
Quentin Tarantino's been doing it since the start. His whole movies are based around it.
Yeah,
and he's the master of it. Don't try to mimic him.
That's true.
We're specifically talking about movies where they're just injecting a bunch of, 80s.
Oh
70s,
yeah,
80s, and
but they're
90s
doing it
songs
because
now.
Tarantino did it, and other people similar to him. They're trying to catch on that trend. Well, if we just play oldies, people will latch on to it because they remember the song. But you're missing the point. Tarantino was picking deep cuts. He was picking songs that weren't necessarily popular at the time he chose them. Most of the songs, like "Stuck in the Middle of You" by Steeler Wheel, is popular mainly because it's in Reservoir Dogs.
I mean, I did something similar when I wrote scenes and I had a character in my book actually deliberately play a song. It's because that's a song I was listening to over and over again while I was writing that scene.
I think it was done honestly kind of with the first Guardians of the Galaxy because of the setting. Like, he had the cassette with him at that time. It was like the 80s, so obviously that was like kind of the music that would be set forth. But now they're trying to do it again and again and again. I'm curious what the third soundtrack is going to be like here with this.
That would be a three-pronged disagreement, because I believe it was what's it called? Zack Snyder's what was it? I can't remember the movie. It's a boring one that everybody likes.
Oh, Sucker Punch.
No. People like that. The other one.
I've never heard of it.
The one with
Oh,
Sucker
I
Punch
can't
was
remember. I can't remember
I can't think
the
of
one
that
that really put him on the map. So, see, nobody can remember. It's Zack Snyder. Who can remember, right?
Well,
Other
I
than
think Man of Steel when I think Zack Snyder, you know.
Oh, the one bit, it was before that. It was when you started doing the whole DC thing.
Watchmen.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Watchmen. Yes.
That was like I'm not
That
saying
movie
none
was
of these
terrible.
guys.
I didn't realize that was Zack Snyder.
I ain't saying none of these
A
guys
little bit
kinda
of Bob
use it to.
Dylan.
I'm not saying a lot of these guys didn't use it to great degree, but that one was kind of the movie that solidified it is almost like an industry standard, which is kind of what happens every now and then the industry ruins it.
Of course.
Bob Dylan.
I actually like the Watchmen movie. I remember seeing it in theaters. I actually have the extended cut, and I have the graphic novel.
Yeah,
I
just
think
remember
the,
Alan Moore wanted you to hate Rorschach.
Yeah,
and I think they
yeah,
changed. I think they deliberately had to change the ending from the graphic novel because there's no way that would have worked in a movie with the way that the actual graphic novel ends for the alien and everything. That's a little over the top for
Talking
audiences.
about the octopus that fucking
well,
gets
it is
his-
Alan Moore. That guy's little, you know. If you know Alan Moore, you know to stay away from him. See him in public.
Jose Hernandez says, want to know you can, I think there's supposed to be an if there. I'm assuming there's an if. Want to know if you can buy one franchise from these Leviathans, would it be Star Wars, Star Trek, or Doctor Who? I'm going to go with Star Wars, erase sequel trilogy, and send Kathleen to Gulag. Darth Karen. Yeah, if I was offered any one of those to just take, it would for me that would be Star Trek. But honestly, I'm not interested in that because I'm too busy trying to figure out my own universe of stuff to create. So, as much as I like Star Trek, my focus is building the one I made.
If I wasn't so burned by them, I would say Doctor Who for me.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I'd go for Star Wars, but all you fans would hate me because I'd immediately fucking recast Luke, Han, and Leia.
You know what? It needs to be done so they can redo it right.
Recasting is dangerous, but it's not necessarily the worst thing. Look at Fury Road. I thought Tom Hardy was a pretty good recasting for Mel Gibson.
Well, here's the thing. I'd recast him because I'm going to go with like the EU route with fucking Thrawn. What's her name?
Which is what everybody wanted them to do to begin with.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's what I would go with. So I'm fucking recasting. Fuck it.
If I were to buy any of them, which I don't really care about any of them, so it doesn't matter, I would just say the bad stuff doesn't exist anymore. The good stuff does, and nobody's making anything for this forever.
Boom.
You know, strike all this from canon. Here's the good stuff left. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
enjoy.
totally retro it.
Yeah, I was a huge Star Wars fan, but what they slowly did over time, just I dropped it and went to Star Trek because that was the next biggest one for me.
Wow, you went to one dumpster fire to another.
You ever watch
Congratulations.
Battlestar Galactica? I heard good things about Battlestar Galactica. I've never seen that series.
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica was pretty good.
That's a trippy one. Trippy.
Billy,
Very
I was not impressed with the prequels, and so that's about the time that I quit Star Wars and went over to Star Trek whenever it was still good.
And you guys ever watch Farscape?
Yes,
I've heard of.
No, I need to.
Oh, I freaking loved it.
I agree. A trippy. I think Battlestar Galactica will be right up your alley. It's about robots that take over and then find religion. It's amazing.
All right, yeah. Find out
the
TV.
two main characters from Farscape ended up going and joining Stargate 1.
They even spoofed that at one point.
Yeah,
Star Trek was honestly the only real nerd series I got into growing up. It was just Stargate, and that's just because when I was young, I used to get Stargate and Star Trek mixed up, and I was too young to actually like recognize the deeper meanings of Star Trek. So I was like, "Hey, where's all the action? Where's the guys with the machine gun? Where's the adventure? Why am I still in this ship? Put me on the planet somewhere." Exactly. So
you know what
there
show I
was
got to catch
Stargate.
up on, though, is Andromeda. That was also by Gene Roddenberry. That was made directly by him, and I never watched it. I've seen a few episodes, thought it was cool, but I never watched.
Yeah, hey, Kevin
Firefly.
Sorbo and
I
what's her
have
name?
such sucker for
Ooh.
Firefly.
Yeah, Firefly is also
Well,
good.
that's because we all have the heart of a brown coat. And the Firefly
Mhm.
crew would
Yep.
outdo the Enterprise, would outdo the Star Wars universe. Why do I say that when they have the lowest tech? Because they're a bunch of rednecks that's just going to take what's around them and use it to their advantage.
Wasn't
So,
it supposed to be like the Civil War? in
go
space?
Malcolm Reynolds. Yeah, he based it on the Civil War, and
Somebody say Civil War.
yeah,
Yeah, Firefly
was based on the Civil War, and the idea was the crew we follow was on the losing side.
Yep.
They were fighting for independence, where the other side was fighting for unity to, everything be centralized under one government.
Yep.
And the independents lost.
I've never seen Firefly. I know what the show's roughly about, but I've never seen it. I think it's because I saw Bebop and was unsure if I would like. I was worried that Bebop is too similar to Firefly. That I would kind of like.
Cowboy
Firefly is the
Yeah.
only like space show
Oh,
that
no.
actually does space right, and you don't
Yeah.
hear sound in outer space.
Yeah. Serenity, which was the movie to answer a bunch of the questions that weren't answered in the show, answered some, but then left a whole lot of others unanswered. And that was the one thing that really frustrated me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What frustrated me was how they ended up with Wash, but from what I understand, that was only done because they couldn't guarantee he would be available if they did a sequel.
So the only downside to it is that like every planet they visit is pretty much like set in Old West. You get this old Western kind of vibe for everything they go to. It's just because of budgeting and stuff like
Everything's
that.
Tatooine.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but the sets are really good.
It looks less like Tatooine and more like Arizona.
The characters, it's the
Okay.
character developments that's the best. Like the whole crew that comes together,
Yeah.
and each individual has their own like unique personality for sure, and how they all blend
Yeah.
together, even though they're contrasting one another. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Two of their
Not bad.
best episodes, Out of Gas and I can't remember the name of the other one. It was the last one with Jubal Early. They took place entirely on the ship itself, and they were the best ones, and they were just very character focused. And I mean, Joss Whedon, I know the guy's got issues, but the
We're
guy
talking about
can
the art.
create when he gets in the zone. The guy can create some really good stories. I mean, he knew how to present them.
You know, this might actually have given me an idea because I eventually want to do something different for my short stories in year two. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm writing one short story every single month. And I think what I want to do, because I've always liked the ensemble in space, I think I'm going to take a series of characters and turn them into an ensemble bunch that go on adventures throughout my world and focus on them in year two of my short story writing.
Yeah, Motley
Cool.
Crue stories are the best. That's why I kind of
Yeah.
always liked Final Fantasy. Like Final Fantasy 9's the favorite, just because it's a motley crew of people that have very different lives and backgrounds, philosophies, and stuff like that. But they come
And
together.
in the rich
and they
world.
work. They work as a team to save the world.
That's kind of one of the reasons why I like Stargate is that you had two military personnel, but one of them was a doctor. And since she was a she, the main leader of the group was kind of frustrated with that because, a doctor and it's a woman. But then you also have the archaeologist. He doesn't have anything to do with the military. He did not even think about joining the military until the Stargate fell in his lap. And then their fourth teammate is an alien.
Yeah, that's the what really got me into Stargate and the thick universe behind it. I love the universe, which I thought they get explored more in the show. But funny enough, the Stargate guys actually, I think only a handful of years ago, made another show. I'm not sure if anybody's actually seen the show called Black Matter, but
Oh,
or
yeah.
Dark Matter.
Yeah, that was on
I
Sci-Fi.
love-
I was watching some
I
of that.
loved that show because it was
Really?
essentially a motley crew in space. But as the seasons continued, it wasn't like your traditional motley crew where they always got each other backs because they all just wake up in a ship and they all
they've
have
got amnesia, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, okay, let's go with it. As the seasons continue, like, oh wait, this guy's just a douchebag, not really with them, betrays him. That guy ends up dying off over there, and the crew starts getting smaller and then separated, and only a handful actually have each other's backs. And then you just don't know what the hell's going on in this, like I always say, a rich universe, which helps a shit ton. And then it just keeps you on. It kept me on the edge of the seat because as I went, I just didn't know what was going to happen.
Genius physics with that blink drive too. I like the whole system that they set up with the ship and how they like teleport around basically.
Yeah, I don't know why they ended that series. There was another series about like a bounty hunter.
There's only like
in
3
space.
seasons.
Yeah, there was another show around about the same time that was about a bounty hunter in space. And I think that had 2 seasons, and then they canceled that one as well.
Sci-fi was pumping them out really good there. It used to be cheesy stuff. Remember sci-fi in the 90s, all those cheesy sci-fi movies? Now they're actually doing really good thanks to technology and computer graphics.
One series they had for a while that I loved was Eureka.
Eureka was interesting. It's such an interesting show.
Oh, forgot about that one.
They had a lot of interesting shows back then. A lot of great concepts you wouldn't see anywhere else.
Then Warehouse 13, they eventually showed that those 2 shows, Warehouse 13, Eureka, were in the same continuity.
I watched a few episodes of Warehouse 13. Well, a few seasons. I remember it being a pretty decent show.
Yeah. Don't underestimate Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, when they take the material seriously, you can have shitty sets and all that, but if you get a great script, and you know what you're doing, what you're writing, it could really go far. And I think they proved that over and over again.
Passionate actors. I think the actors are kind of like they really like getting a part of it too. They're like part of the nerd stuff, so they'll just love doing sci-fi.
Yeah, I miss old school Sci-Fi Channel, not for their shitty movies, but their great shows.
Mr.
What was that one they did with Dean Cain fighting a dragon? It's like,
was that a movie?
It was I think a made for sci-fi channel movie.
Believe it or not,
it was so bad though, but it was hilarious at the same time. Where it's like, how many times is he going to tumble out that same vent just as the flames come out behind him? I was like, I think they use that same clip 3 times for like escaping 3 different vents.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Do you know about what year that was?
You could actually watch a lot of those movies on YouTube now. During COVID, that's basically what a lot of my family members did, was just watch YouTube, and they found all these shitty sci-fi movies from back in the day on there.
Sorry, readout.
Tell them take that hill if practical, the one beyond the town. It really wasn't very practical, apparently.
That was Gettysburg, correct? Yeah. Also, another great movie is the Gettysburg movie from back in the day. From what I hear, they're extremely accurate.
The only problem was, man, those marches could have been edited so much better. The final battle where it's like 15 minutes of them just marching with the loud music in the background. You're like, you could trim that up, right?
Doesn't have to be that epic, guys.
Dragon Fighter. That was a Dean Cain movie.